on your report.
Okay. All right. So this is the communication meeting. We have participating myself, Diane Shrimp, and the Mayor Hughes, Councilman Brugger, and Councilman Curl. So the meeting tonight, thank you for short notice. I was hoping to be able to talk about two things. One is just to follow up on the subscribe into our current website in order to get information. And I didn't think it, I thought that could happen pretty quick because we're customers and it's a small program, but although our salesperson is perfect, but because we already are, there's pricing already there, he didn't need to get involved. I just wanted to get some more detailed information because we know what the price is. And so anyway, I got into the ticket system, and so I had to, after 2 days of that, I just emailed again. I said, what happened? Somebody was supposed to call me back, and what's up with that? So I did just now get an apology. Again, I imagine if I'm in the ticketing system, I'm not going to be first. So because don't have a problem. But anyway, so he has time next week. So I have to postpone that one until next week and have a chance to ask him the more details. Sorry about that. Now on the other one, the e-texting, I had done the analysis back in 2019, according to my notes in September. So I went back and took the top 3 and just went back to see what changed, if anything, about their products offerings, and to see if there's anything new that might be out there. And also, Councilman Wolf had mentioned Civic Plus, that he had Civic Plus. I think there's too many civics and municipals, but anyway, he had one that he said he had looked at, but he wasn't sure he could find the pricing anymore, but he thought it was a good deal. So I finally got a hold of them. They were very hard to get a hold of, but when I did finally get an answer, which I did this afternoon, they changed their product completely. So their mass messaging product is now more geared towards a municipality. In other words, it's more of an emergency texting. So it's expensive. It's a $200 to $300 a month, and but it does all that mapping stuff. You can say, oh, the dam has burst. We need to tell everybody in this area. And this is newer technology where you just put your finger, draw it on a Google map, and it automatically figures out what the phone numbers are based on yellow page or white page information, and throws a text out there warning people to evacuate. So it's got all those features. So it's way out of what we were looking for, I think. Although it does give you pause in terms of communicating on that rarity of rarities for us as a small village. What if you really had it? I don't know what the disaster would be. A fire out of control.
Tornado's the number one.
Well, a tornado, we have the siren for the tornado, so we've got that covered. So this would be something else, something disaster within the village community that would require evacuation or some kind of special notification that we wouldn't be able to do with Nexel. So, or that we might not do with Nexel. So it's just a different product, and because it could be area wide, you like the idea. No one's opting in or out for that. It's just that you're saying if you've got a phone number registered in the phone book, we are circling this area that's a disaster area, and everybody's going to get a text no matter what. So it's addressing a disaster recovery or disaster program. It's addressing that. And of course, I don't think we have a disaster.
No. I've mentioned that a
manual
lot.
or
Emergency preparedness, it's called.
right. Exactly, that sort of thing. I mean, I don't think the village has ever tried to do anything that sophisticated. So this might be one we'd want to park for future discussion. Unless anyone who thinks it should be more of a priority to be thinking about that sort of thing.
Are
I
there
don't,
any,
go
are
ahead,
there
Mark.
any of them out there that are, I mean, you said the one that you were looking at, they totally changed it and it's really expensive and not really what we need. Is there one out there that,
Oh, yeah, no, there are plenty of other text things. I thought since this came up, I would ask that as an aside. Yeah, we're gonna get to the regular texting people in just a second.
oh, okay, that's what because, the last I heard about that was like $2,000, 2,400. We could send however many texts. And I was just like, good, let's do that and move on. So let's see if I'm still that way.
Okay.
My comment would be that, we're a small community, a small land area within the northeast part of Franklin County. We have Westerville, Blendon Township, Columbus, all these people available, plus the National Weather Service. And there might be some way, it wouldn't hurt to investigate, to also coordinate with people in Franklin County as to who covers what, under these scenarios. There may be a way to have them add us to some text list they have.
Okay. Tiffany, do you have any comment?
Not really. I think I'm interested in hearing the less expensive ones
Oh,
also.
sure.
Obviously, I'm not opposed whatsoever to this. That said, I do almost feel like, Nixle does allow us to, not us particularly, but, the chief can always, in the event of, a major fire, or just today, we had, something that wasn't completely major, but kind of major, so Nixle does do that. Now, that said, that's on a 3 to 5 time per year basis. I mean, that is strictly, we do not pay for that. And I just want to send that as a reminder. I know Mark maybe wasn't on that committee when we talked about this, but when I did start all of this research, Nixle was one of the ones, and I think I almost got us in trouble because I was asking for that. And she's like, well, you guys already have an account with Nixle and da, 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 da. And she was like, so she started going through it, looking to see how we were using it. And she actually had said that there were a couple texts that were on the border of not appropriate because our Nixle account is strictly for emergencies. The police department can use it for emergency issues only. And if they go outside of that, then because everybody signed up for it.
They did send one this morning.
Yes, I know. So that is, so we have to be careful as to what we use that for. But I feel like, and what you're alluding to is different. I understand that. Like, it's more of I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong. Do you have to sign with the Civic? Would everybody still need to sign up? You're talking about maybe yellow pages, but is there multiple ways? How would you know my cell number?
Yeah, there's multiple ways, but for an actual, the differentiator in that group of products,
right,
is the ability to circle a Google map.
Okay.
Automatically. Nobody is signed up for anything. It just grabs phone numbers out of the cloud and throws them out there as a text. So that's the big
cool.
thing. That's the big thing that is, yeah.
And that really is cool. When you are starting to talk about, there's a house fire on this street, or, not that you ever want to see that, but there's, emergency activity going on here, or, I mean, I know the police would do certain things. So how much would we actually really use it? That's almost more of something that the police might be interested in, but if we did it as a village, obviously we could share it. So, I'm not opposed to anything that comes to communications. I'm not going to be opposed to. I think it's all of them are worth looking into.
Okay, well, I'm going to table that one just for future reference in case it should come up. The big difference is that, again, you're not having, like Nexel, people have to opt in.
Correct.
So this would be where they wouldn't have to opt in. And if it was really a serious emergency, I could see where I wouldn't, personally, I don't think this product would be worthwhile, except for, I think when you get to the size of a Dublin or Westerville, then you have some liability associated with that And, you could probably make a case for it. I mean, they just have a bigger swath of land to take care of. So anyway, all right, so then moving on. So let's move to what's in our ballpark right now. So originally, Tiffany had favored mobile text alerts, which I'm not opposed to. I had also looked at easy texting and simple texting. And let me just pull up the grid I was noodling with. This won't take too long. But
Oh, don't worry, I'm napping already.
no, this will be really, honestly, it'll be really quick if I accept that. What the hell? Oh well, I don't think it. Can I share, please? Can I please share? Okay. Share. All right, here we go. So here's just my noodling. I didn't dress it up. I just was taking notes. So the big thing is on the mobile texting, which is the main thing you get is you get an 800 number that becomes yours for texting purposes. And everybody gives you one, of course, because otherwise you wouldn't buy their product. And that's included. And so here's the thing, Mayor, the pricing is on a per month basis. The number of texts that you would send out. So you have to guess your best guess on the number of people who are going to sign up. So the pricing per month is like typically around 1,000 to 2,000, depending on the price. So for 1,000 texts, and I just want to make this clear because it's confusing to me, but what they mean by 1,000 texts is that means you're texting no more than 1,000 people.
Mhm.
So it's not that you are initiating
Right.
1,000. So if we have 500 people sign up,
It's 2 texts.
2 texts for the month, okay? And the big thing on this is for this price range that we're in, if you go over, it's 4 cents for each additional text that happens. So that can, if you goof, I mean, if we don't pay attention to the size of the opt-in population, then we could, get a nice little bill. So there's pricing for 1,000 and there's pricing for 2,000, and that's pretty consistent. Now, in terms of, so you have to envision how many you're texting and how many people are going to opt in. And then basically, does it have a rollover? If you don't use your 1,000 texts, do they roll over? And yes, in these ones that I'm presenting here, they do. So in all 3 of these, mobile, simple, and I also am including, this was my last one I looked at, Textly. You do have a rollover credit. And in the case of one of these, all of these have an annual discount. The highest annual discount I found was the 25% from simple texting. So if you buy it annually versus going month to month. But let's see, is there anything else? The only one that actually said they had a cell app that you download from the App Store for free is the mobile texting alerts. And the other thing that Tiffany thought she liked about this was that you can opt in with a text and or your email address. And then the whole program has to be set to either send to both or just send to one, or send a text, or if there's no text, send to email. So that option is in the mobile text alerts. So that's what's, I guess, special about that. So their pricing is 24 for 1,000 and 43 for 2,000. And are you sleeping now, Tiffany?
So Diane, just to clarify, just so I understand it.
Mhm.
So if we pay $24, we have 1,000 texts. If we send 2 texts to 500 people,
Yes.
that's 1,000. If we send
Yes.
500 texts to 2 people, that's 1,000.
Yes.
Okay. And then what's
Right.
the March Madness thing?
Oh, let me get, so the person I just talked to, this is a new one. This is a newer product, so it's got a nice new web page. And I liked it because the Textly is, what they feature is people like us. I mean, schools and, small
Mhm.
businesses, which I like. So Textly is, the thing with theirs is that it is cheap. It's about this, it's a little cheaper or not. It's very close to the mobile text alerts, 23 for $1,039 for 2,000. Now, if you buy annually, then you get an extra 200 texts at the first pricing level. So it goes from 1,000 to 1,200.
Mhm.
And also for the 2,000, you go from 2,000 to 2,400 texts per month if you pay for it annually. Otherwise, the other big difference between these two, Tiffany, are you there? I think we lost Tiffany. At least
I think she
she's
just probably got up to use the restroom or something. She should be back in a moment.
okay.
I know
So
that usually what it is when I have my camera off is I need to run to the potty and I don't feel like
No, I had to
bringing the
answer.
camera in with me.
No, not on this one. I had to answer a phone call. So I have somebody calling me.
okay.
Okay. So
So the difference, I wanted to just make sure you heard the difference between the mobile text alert and the
yes.
Textly. Okay. So they're similar pricing, but they do bump you up on the.
Like the kid's last name Pratty or well.
What was that?
Oh.
I'm sorry, I was just hearing some background noise.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm trying to. I can't get this thing to quit. It's my phone. Sorry. Go ahead. You talk. I'm going to mute my screen.
Okay. Okay. So the main difference here is that is the number of characters you can have in your text. For the mobile text, it's the standard. It's a standard 160 characters, and with the that says dollars, that's 160 characters. But with Textly, you can have 300 characters. So that's a nice feature, and you don't have to worry so much about. And so the other thing is they do have the other difference is they have a web app that you can go into through your cell phone, but you're working through a dashboard in a web-based software. So on the cell phone, you'd have to log into this website, your web app, and do the administration. So I don't know how really different it is from mobile text alerts, which actually has a downloadable app. So usually it's easier to navigate on a cell phone, but I don't know that. These are both free trial type things, so we could check out the difference.
That was one of the things that I really liked was we could actually play around with it for a day or a couple of days. They will give you like one free whatever, and we could opt like all of council in.
Yep.
And then just do like a test run for like a day or two just to like see what it does.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that would be.
I'm curious, what is a typical, or maybe a couple examples of the type of text it would send out?
I'm going to mute myself again for 2 seconds and get off this.
Okay. So I think what Tiffany wanted to use it for was, there's an orange cone on Wildwood, watch out for the big pothole, or, there's going to be a partial street closing for sewer work over here, something like that. I don't know if we didn't have, if I don't know if that necessarily she wanted to text food truck on Friday, but theoretically you could use it for that. You just have to be careful to use up your text allotments.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many, I mean, I figure so much will depend on how many people sign up, right? If we only have 500 people sign up, and let's say we get the 50,000 for the year.
Oh, that the 50,000 is the 50,000 is March Madness. If you buy in March, you get 1 year of 50,000 extra. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer at this point because
Yeah.
it gives you a chance to get used to it, mess up.
You know, even if we get 1,000, that's 50 text messages that we can send out just off of that, which is like 4 a month.
Mhm.
And 4 a month seems like a lot. And
Yeah.
then, you know, if we're at the 1,200, that's another 2. Now we're at 6 a month we have to come in under our limit. At 6 a month, boy, I can almost see saying a food truck every once in a while, but probably not. But still, you can say, hey, snow emergency, move your car. Hey, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and at $40 a month, I'm just rounding up pricing D times 12 is $480 for the year. I say, I mean, I don't want to, I'm ready to pass emergency legislation and get this done. Or if this is something we even need that to do that, if it's low enough, we can just do it. But something like that, just give it a try. If we find out we wasted $500, we wasted $500.
Well, and I don't think it
Well,
was wasted. I mean, I'm not in disagreement with you. I don't think it's wasted. I think if you send out some form of communication, even if, I think that here's what I would say. I feel like, and I heard one of the questions on there, you know, to me, this was for me to be able to, one of the complaints that I got even recently, and it may not solve this problem, is why didn't you tell me there was sewer work going on? And I said, well, you've been notified. No, you didn't notify me today. You didn't notify me this week, that type of thing. So again, I can't send out a text message. And that's why, you know, again, being able to circle that little area, I was really interested in when you were talking about that. But, you know, there's still, even just sending a blank statement that says there's sewer work in this area, or I wouldn't want to do it all the time, or just like, again, at the beginning, like, you know, a newsletter only goes out once a month. People don't go to the website all the time. Just to say the 2021 sanitary sewer project, you know, there could be people in your front yard, your backyard, watch for, you know, or direct them to the website. Over the next month, please visit the website to tell you what areas they will be in. So you could definitely set it to whatever you wanted to say within a certain amount of characters, obviously. But that was kind of what my theory was. And it wasn't just for sewer projects. I mean, today you had the down tree. Of course, I'm back to the sewer project when they had the road closed because they were doing that. It wasn't just their sewer work in your area. There's an actual road closure for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
When we do the road closure down there, you know, just anything and everything. And we do want to set it, you kind of try it for the first 30, 45 days. Do people get annoyed when they get like, hey, food trucks at the community building? Now, if we do it every once in a while and tell people, then you might get the complaint that why don't you tell us every Friday when there's so it's a matter of see what works, see what doesn't work, see what people like, see what they don't like. How many people can we actually get to opt in? I mean, I think that's going to be a huge thing. If we have it for 3 months and we've got 36 people, you know, last year would have been a really bad time to do it because it was difficult to go to people's, you know, go to their door or whatever. But let's just be honest, not everybody reads the newsletter. Not everybody watches the videos. Not everybody's on Facebook. So how do we get to those people that would like to know that there's a road closure? You're not. I mean, at some point, you just have to realize that you're not going to get to everybody. And unfortunately, that might be the one person that is calling me to complain. So, you know, but when they call me to complain, I could say, hey, this is how people are being notified. Do this. So at least I would have a tool for them, I think, is maybe the next part. So, I mean, I'm on board. You guys know I'm on board, and we do it for a couple months and see how it works, or we do it for a year, and worst case, we don't renew it. If it's really just one of those, that was fun, didn't work. then we can say, look, this was an avenue that we tried.
I got a couple questions.
Yes.
Some of the complaints that I've heard, for example, say sewer work. There has been some sewer work that would directly affect a person. For example, on a particular day, they're working, near a couple of particular addresses, maybe blocking driveways or something like that.
Correct.
I would think that the contractor would, put some kind of notice on the door for those particular people, because they're the only ones that know when the work's shifting around.
So I'm going to tell you that according to the contractor, that is part of the contract. That is something that I have witnessed them do. I will tell you again, some residents have claimed, and I am not saying that they're lying because I will not. But I know that, one person says that they weren't notified, but yet their next door neighbor over here and their next door neighbor over here were notified. And I'm not that particular. I don't know like a specific one you're talking about, but I also had people tell me that they were not notified. Now, most people were. It could have blown away. So just so you know, the contractors do 95% of the time, and there's a glitch with the other 5%.
Okay, well, I wasn't trying to make any kind of counterpoint to what you were saying. What the other question I had, for example, today, and that's why it was a little late getting signed on. The power was out most of the day here.
Right.
But I got a text from AEP and then a second text from Minerva Park PD. So that was well covered.
Right. And for me, I love those because I wouldn't have gone that way because I don't drive that way. But if that was one of my main routes, it would have been nice to know. So, I like those. I think if you go overboard, people do get annoyed with them. I think if they're used in the appropriate way, it's totally fine. And no, and just so you know, Joe, your point, and maybe I didn't make that clear. Your point is completely valid. I got several of those that I wasn't notified from the contractor. Again, I got one Christmas Eve, and in one breath, I'm like, there's workers out there working on your sewers Christmas Eve, or it might have been New Year's Eve. I can't remember which one. But I had more than one complaint that there were workers out there and they weren't notified. And I'm thinking, in one hand, I'm thinking to myself, these poor workers are working on a holiday and you're concerned about X, and so, I'm looking at it going, but then, it's an inconvenience. So I do totally understand, but I'm trying to look at it and, with as many sewer problems as we've had, it surprised me how many sewer inconvenienced complaints I received of not being notified. And I know, for example, how many times did we talk about it in meetings, in newsletters? If it wasn't in almost every single one of my newsletters that there's work going on, but I still had more complaints than I can count on both hands.
There was one issue with the sewers that I tracked down because I heard from a number of people, and that is when they were relining some of the sewers. There were a lot of really obnoxious, poignant odors that were emanated.
Correct.
And you couldn't really pin that down to any address. It would be anybody on that entire line. But people that allowed their traps to dry out were getting gas in their house.
Correct. Yeah. And again, that would have been a good one because we knew what was coming. And, because we'd already had it in numerous sections of the area, that on Facebook we did post, please pour a cup of water down your drain in your basement. We did try to, and it worked for some people and it didn't. Here's if you have that big of an issue or that big of a problem, that may be something that you're not realizing that you have other things coming up in your house any other time. So that to me would have been a red flag for people to do a little bit of work, in their house. But again, I hear exactly what you're saying. It would be nice to be able to notify those people.
Yeah, you could give them a little information because then the subject comes up of what, are really important civic announcements other than just, work or road closures or some breakage someplace. I am curious, by the way, when this tree limb went down and took the power lines out, usually AEP is responsible to inspect their own lines, and obstacles that are dangling over or too close to it are usually fall under their purveyance. They have lots of tree crews they send out to take care of that. Now, if they miss one and a tree limb falls and takes the power line out, does Minerva Park go out there to have to clean up all the debris from the tree and all of that? Or does AEP do that? I'm just curious on that.
Pretty positive it's AEP. I have not been notified that we need to do anything.
They go. They
It's
go.
by the homeowner, actually. If it's in the whole, if it's in the right of, if it's
Yeah.
ours, we probably do have to do it. And if it's a homeowner, they probably have to do it. It's actually,
Yeah,
is
they
that
don't,
right?
on the easement, which I have plenty of expertise on that, they cut it, what they need to cut, and the rest falls where it does, and it's your problem. So,
Homeowner's responsibility
I've
or,
walked into my kitchen before to see guys in my backyard cutting apart one of my tree, and I'm just like, what the?
So we must have sent a crew out there today.
well, no, it's, the thing is what they do is AEP comes out. You know, we had the power outage over here on Minerva Lake Road that didn't get reported by, I'm not sure why the police reported the one today, because they certainly didn't report ours, and we were out all night. But anyway, so I just wondered if it was blocking a road or something. But no, AEP comes out and goes, oh God, that tree's too big, I can't. So then they sit and park and do whatever they do, and they wait for one of the tree companies to come, whoever they've got contracted for in this area. I call them Spelunk, but it's not.
AEP has their own tree crews.
No. So they get a vendor to come out and cut up the tree, get it out of the way, which of course extends the time your power's out, but they are experts. So it kind of makes sense, especially for us, because we're on the creek. So it's kind of precarious sometimes. It's precarious work. Sometimes the tree actually has to be climbed, which is really dangerous work. So they usually call for experts, at least on the ravine. So, you know, then they chop the tree, and then AEP comes back around after the tree is cleared out of the way, and then they start restringing their wire. So that's how they do it. But
They have a massive department at AEP that's called forestry. The director of it's down in their headquarters in West Virginia. They they have a lot of their own crews, sophisticated ones, and they spend an enormous amount of their budget, you know, working on trees, down trees that need to be trimmed, and there's a lot in
yeah,
Minerva Park.
I've never witnessed that in the 35 years I've been in the park. It's never been AEP that chopped down the tree, and we've had several.
Yeah,
Over the years,
year-round.
we've had several outages, but anyway, yeah, so that tree that fell on the next door neighbor's Celia's, that one is just laying there half in the creek and half out, and it's big, it's gonna lay there till hell freezes over. You know, it's on the easement, so that's the way that goes. Anyhow, where were we? So yeah, I sign up for AEP too, so I get those alerts, and I do appreciate those. I'm still working on that outage, by the way, but I've been trying to do it myself. The easement has, we've got 2 poles, one on each end of the yard in the back, and all the wires came down this time. Electric, and then the next one in the line was Spectrum, and the next one was AT&T, and then the next one was WOW. And so we've got one more left to do. WOW is at the bottom row, and they've got to come out and rehang their wire because it's halfway into the yard. So anyway, that's my off-topic tale of woe. So
Does this come under?
how do we got there because we were talking about emergency alerts. So let's back off. It sounds like the Textly one makes sense. It's got the March Madness bonus tax. So that's something that we could, and that one does have a free trial. It's not a long one. I think it's only like 12 days, but I have to double check that. But do you want to compare that with the mobile text alerts, or do you just want to test Textly and see how that goes? Or how do you think we should proceed?
I think you should decide which one you like and move.
Okay.
That's what I think. And I think Mark is going to agree with me.
We can get, as I said, assuming 500 people sign up the first year, we can get 4 to 6 texts a month. Find out that 50,000 for the year, is that floatable? for $480. Let's do it. If at the end of the year we find out, boy, we really just didn't need this service, we didn't use this, we can get rid of it. But yeah, that's it.
I agree.
Well, would council meetings, would those be something that would be texted out?
No,
No, I agree. I think it would be strictly, here's what I would say. If we really had a lot left over or something like that, I mean, I think that you could do, I'm just throwing this out there, grand opening at the pool this weekend, or, block, I know this
Art
isn't
in the
our,
park. Art in
I
the
know it's
park.
not our event, but, and I'm not saying, but block party today. Again, it depends on how much we used it to where we would go. And I'm not saying we would pick and choose NPCA events, but if there was something they really needed to get the word out for, the police department, it depends on how many people we had on there. But I wouldn't be opposed to, if the month of September is when they have their block party, because that is such a large event, could potentially be, or the family fun night or something like that. I'm not saying we would do it for every little one, but something major that more people would be involved in. It could even be used for something like that. Now, we may not, you guys all, and I think that we should set parameters. And this is, me, I never like to set parameters when it comes to stuff like this, but maybe that's really something council wants to set. No, we won't advertise anything for anybody else or whatever. But I think it would be nice to be able to send out, assuming we have the text available, to being able to send out not just sewer things, not just road closures, but a community event, if there was a large community event.
Well, I agree.
Okay.
If the overall goal we mentioned at other times is getting more community involvement, that would be one way to do that.
Yes, I agree.
when I think about it, probably 400 would be a stretch goal to get signed up, because that would be half the households. I mean, I know if I sign up, I'm going to tell, and if we use street captains from MPCA to help us out,
That would be awesome.
say, please just sign up one person per household, because if you and your spouse gets it, that just costs us 2 texts and we're paying by the text.
Yep. I agree. And I would tell you that only one of us would set up at my house. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah. And that is typical, even on the directory and membership file. Those people that gave email addresses, there's only like 4 couples who each wanted their email address on there. Everybody else, if they put an email address on there, one of the partners put it out, and that was it. So there was only one email for the residents. So so that seems to be the trend. Is one spouse is more, or one partner is more active than the other. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got them both in the directory, didn't we?
No, we didn't do. We purposely did not put the emails in the directory because a lot of people do not want their email in the directory. They volunteered their email for MPCA to use in case they had volunteer opportunities and they needed to get a hold of them. That's what that was for, but it was not for. Now that could change next year or whenever. People might get, I don't know, but people are a lot more uptight about their email addresses than they used to be, because they get so much spam these days. So.
Well, you get hacked with the email.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You can send in and get entry codes to apps on a person's computer if you have their email.
Well, they're not going to get any entry codes for me because I don't use that technology. But okay, so we will do this. And yeah, I can think of ways we can get the word out. If we move forward on this, Tiffany, then who is the one most likely? Is that you who would be the one most likely to put out the text?
Yes.
Well, yes, and I mean, here's what I'm going to say. This may really get me in trouble, but I don't know that I need to be the only person. It would be nice if, and I'm just going to say this, sometimes it would be nice if there was somebody And I know this is where we went back and forth with the communication committee. What are you guys doing? What are you not doing? I'm not getting into all that tonight. But sometimes it would actually be nice if there was somebody else that was posting some of the things.
Well, it'd probably be a good
Oh,
idea
you
if Communications Committee were to work up some kind of real general guidelines then on that.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, just so you know,
And I
you
hadn't
guys are
thought of
going,
it that way, Tiffany.
huh?
I said I hadn't thought of it that way, Tiffany. I just like the idea of centralized one voice.
Oh, no, and understand, I think in general, I think that's like, I literally lost the whole Zoom screen. Like, it's weird, I can't find it. Like, it
It's
totally
probably
went,
hidden
like,
behind something.
I just stopped sharing and
yeah, now I disappeared. Well, it's not a big deal.
now
Okay,
you did disappear. Oh, no. Who's that? Oh, Joe disappeared.
okay, well, I mean,
What you would do then, because you can't call me. But here you go.
this is really gonna make me mad. All right, close that. Yeah, no, that my whole screen's gone. That is so weird. Okay, anyways. And yes, I don't disagree. I think that's, again, a different conversation, maybe for a different time, once we get it, what it actually entails, what we can do, what we can't do, because obviously you don't want me to send one out and then somebody else. But there are times in
Right.
which it would be nice if, there was something that okay, let's just be honest. Like this morning, Chief was the first one to know about that at 6 o'clock this morning or 7 or whatever, and he's the one that posted it. So let's just assume I'm in a meeting until 10. There's no way for me to post it. So if I'm the only one that has access to being able to post something that is that important, I think it would be nice to have an alternate person, because again, our office doesn't even open until 8. So I'm not saying that somebody else would be up in general, but I don't know that it would be the worst thing in the world that if somebody else had the availability, the access, whatever, to being able to do it. And I'm not opposed to, I don't need to be the sole person on it. I do not mind if that's the way you guys want it to be and somebody wants to send me a message and have me post it. But again, I think that there is a time and a place that there could potentially be a need for somebody else to being able to do it.
I would suggest mayor, police chief, and either chair of the communication committee or president of council.
Well, I'd suggest the administrative assistant.
Yeah,
If it has to go out,
Correct.
promptly,
exactly. And here's
who's
what I
on
would
spot
say.
to do it?
We would all have access to that. I mean, again, when it comes to that, honestly, even Leah being able to do it, I mean, that is not my issue. My thinking is, again, if it's something before, they don't work on the weekends. So now it's back to just me. Chief doesn't typically work on the weekends. So, and that's been one of the things. If something happens on and I'm just saying that if something were to happen on a Saturday afternoon, late in the day, and maybe it's the president of council, maybe it's the chair of, I'm just saying that's something for you guys to discuss. I'm not saying you guys need to do it and it's not your job to do it. But I am saying on the weekends, that does put it just to me. And if I'm in a meeting or, at a sporting event and I'm not staring at my phone and there's a tree down and you think it's that important, you would be the next person left in line, because Chief's not going to be in there. He might get notified from one of the officers and be able to do it, but it might not be as quick as maybe one of you guys that's on Facebook or something. So I'm not saying you need to do it, and I don't think anybody's implying that. And it's just something for you guys to think, do you want the communication chair? Do you want the president of council being able to do that? And maybe that's just really out of your guys' realm and you shouldn't be doing it. And you guys are confident and comfortable with that. So I'm leaving it open for you guys to discuss that, because I don't have to have control over something like that. I don't want you to feel like I do. And I don't think you're implying that. So up to you.
We'll find out what, one thing about the texting is that you can, although generally we wouldn't want to too complicated, but is you can have different texting groups. And so it is possible to, in some circumstances, have at least the ability to text key people and go, hey, who can handle this? Who can send out this text?
Normally it may not be an issue. And
I think it's just a backup plan. So,
right.
Because if you say you're going to do something, you should do it. And if we say we're going to text under certain circumstances, then we should, as a village, make sure we can do that.
Exactly. And I think that's just kind of like the job sharing when it comes to, you know, some of the things that we've been discussing all along in some of the other meetings. You know, again, now that being said, in the event that other people are allowed to text on it, I think there should be rules and if this is the only reason that we use this, then, you know, I think that there should be a process. And that's, you know, again, I'm going to say that, you know me, I'm not the big process person, but there should be a procedure on exactly what we're texting, what we're not texting.
No, I agree, because, you know, anybody, well, certain people would be hesitant to fill in because they would be a little paranoid about form and if they're saying the right thing. Other people might be a little ambivalent, throw something out there that
Right.
somebody is bound to find offensive. And so then you have a firestorm of like, wow, that was inappropriate. So yeah, I just think putting a little fence around it, maybe even having some suggested formats for people so they have some guidance if they do get asked to on behalf of to do something.
Right.
Maybe someone has to, and the chain has to have permission. Maybe
Yeah,
the
that's a good idea.
administrative assistant can only send it out if given permission by one of 3 people.
Right.
You know, stuff like that.
Good
You know,
idea.
you put that stuff around in
No,
there.
yeah, and I do. I appreciate that, just for the simple fact, and maybe not everybody is aware of this, and I'm not going to go in detail on this. And Diane, I'm almost positive this is you'll remember this, but we actually had somebody that had access, that should have had access to being able to do something, and posted something that was just not something I thought was it was not offensive. It was not anything, but it was just not. It just wasn't something that if somebody came to me and said, can I do this? The answer would have been no. You don't post selfies, you know, you don't do that kind of stuff on a government page and all of that. And that's as far as I'm going to go with it. And that was somebody that, so I think you always leave yourself open for the possibility of somebody doing something, even people that have access to it. So, you know, I think as long as, and that's why I was saying setting the parameters. I don't feel like I need parameters, but, you know, I would think that if I'm gone for a week or 2 for some reason, you know, whatever, there should be some sort of parameters. And we have our own verbal parameters on what we do on our Facebook page now. And unfortunately, we did that because of an instance of somebody doing something that I didn't think should have been there, in a sense been removed. But it was kind of one of those touchy things that really, I think that's kind of what we all did. We all just kind of looked at everybody and goes, really? So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we made a decision, guys.
Yes. Now, okay. Do you guys need me to do it? Do you want me to verify with Kim and Leah that we have something in the budget for the communications to be able to move forward immediately? I assume at least covering, you know, the first couple months is not going to be an issue. Maybe it's something we have to do an appropriation for a couple $100. I would think
Here's
there is money somewhere.
The March Madness applies only if you buy a year.
That's fine.
So this would.
How much is it total?
Discounts for a year
Give me the
too.
total
So
again.
So if you, well, we didn't decide.
Okay, do that.
I assume we want the 2,000. If we get the 50,000, we could probably stick with the pricing for 1,000, even though, at least to start. But if you wanted to just play it safe, if you did the 2,000 base, that's 39. That's 39 a month.
that was $10 more a month, so $120. I'd suggest spending the $120, get the extra 1,000 just in case. I know at the end of the year, we're going to be like, wow, we still have like 20,000 texts left. And then just give it to me and I'll do the, you know, 7 days prior to Christmas or whatever, a new text every day.
For
Just,
celebrating the different. That's a good idea.
No, it'll probably just be like, went outside today. I missed
Merry
the squirrel,
Christmas and
I
Happy
pushed
New
out
Year.
that dog. You
Right.
know, something like that.
Well, we could do like, there's several obviously holidays during that time period for
Mhm.
different cultures. So we could definitely go in there and happy this, happy that, happy this, you know, that type of thing. So, but no, I'm fine with whatever. You guys tell me like a number, where you think
So
we're going
it's
to be.
like, so the
100,000.
for the annual will be $468.
Okay.
It's not, so it's under 500.
I'm going to verify with Leah tomorrow, early in the day. I'm going to send her a message tonight and see if she can look at it for me. And then you either send me the link. I mean, if you want to sign up for it, go for it. I don't know if it's something we have to put a credit card on. I don't know if if they can bill us with a check.
Pretty sure it's credit card.
Credit card. I would assume
They're
so.
all credit cards, you know.
So yeah. So I can do that.
I can send you the link.
Send me the link. I can sign up for it. That way we can use a the typical generic email that we've been using for a lot of this kind of stuff, and the same password. It just makes life easier.
Oh, it's perfect. Absolutely should do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then that way, like I said, I don't have an issue. That it's kind of like the Zoom thing. Nobody's taken advantage of it. Nobody's done anything stupid. Nobody's, I just feel like
it's knock on wood. You said it.
I probably should. So, but it's nice to have been able to share those types of things and being able to use them. So, and then if you, we could sign up for it, and then there are YouTubes, and there's probably some extra training. The salesperson was just over the top, but nice about the whole thing. So, I'm available to help, or if this is something that Lisa's really excited about, wants to own this setup, the administrative setup on the back end. There's some work, but it's not going to be too bad. So well, and again, I think it would be nice for two people to have, and I will say this on a live public meeting here right now. And I probably should just say it after the fact to everybody on there. I'll say it later. And it has to do with that. It would be nice to have somebody else like myself, Lisa, and then, whether it's Leah or somebody from council or, something along those lines, to being able to, again, it boils back down to something Tony and some of other council is, just knowing that there's a couple people that have access to it in the event somebody's out ill, that kind of thing. So I think it would be interesting. It would be nice to have.
All right.
If you wanted to stop in on the day that we can put it on the screen and just have everybody go through it.
Okay.
So, but no, I will verify the $500 tomorrow.
Okay, great. And then just moving on then briefly, just then as far as the newsletter goes, I think for the village side, we had to take off the one article I wrote because we had plenty. And there was also one that David wrote. And so we can pull those back in for this month.
Yes.
And I did want to, if you and I and Lisa, if you and I and Lisa can sit down for 15 minutes and I can explain how the best way for Paula to receive the information.
Okay, that would be good.
Would definitely help. And I know Lisa could do it. It's not that hard. Okay. But for some, I didn't know how Becky was doing it, but apparently she was doing it in a way that made more work for them. They accepted it, of course, through the customer. But if just a couple of tips for Lisa.
It would be good to do it now and be taught the right way, then continue to do it the wrong. So again, I would say maybe Monday or Tuesday, so we can start rolling on it. Tomorrow is probably just going to be, this week's been just crazy. So if we can do maybe Monday or Tuesday, give me a little bit of notice, or email me after a while and just say, can we do, she usually goes to lunch around 11:30 most of the time. Again, she eats there, but she tries to go somewhere between 11:30, 12.
Okay.
So before that or after that should be fine.
Okay, that sounds good. And I didn't know if you wanted to, I don't know how I can't remember how this came to my attention, but I know. When we were trying to verify the residential addresses for the person that was helping me, who actually did it, great job, but he was saying how some people's mailboxes don't have the numbers on it, or they're so worn out that they're not readable, and you kind of have to surmise if this is that house or not. And so I didn't know if you wanted to maybe think about an article, spring cleaning, when you're doing your, gussing up your front yard, you might want to think about renumbering on your mailbox.
Right.
It's easier for, the people searching for your home or, you know, the
Right.
post
You're gonna
office.
yell at me you're probably going to yell at me for saying this, but do you know what I would? Okay, so you know the people that come out with those big yellow flyers and they try to get people to buy the numbers in front of their. Do you guys remember that last year and the year
Oh,
before?
yeah. That's.
I
yeah,
wish we
yeah.
just did that.
Happens every year.
I know, but I wish we actually did that. Like I know the
I-
mailboxes need done, but I like that. Maybe not
Well, we
everybody.
don't
And I'm
have,
not
we
saying
don't
charge
have
people.
curbs on Minerva, you know, we don't have curbs on Minerva Lake
Oh,
Road.
you
and
guys can't do it.
You're not gonna put it on the broken up asphalt. That
No,
would be like crap.
Okay, I don't have that problem over here. I forget you guys do. So okay, well, forget my idea because I do. I love that. So no, I think it would be a nice because there is unfortunately or fortunately that's going to be one of my or the only topic that I have right now is going to be don't blow your grass clip, you know, because it's going to come out in April. So make sure your grass clippings are cleaned up. Make sure, you know, you're cleaning your curbs and gutters. Make sure that, you know, whatever. So that's pretty much what it's going to be a little bit of a spring. So that would be something good to put on it. If I forget to put it on it, just remind me. So, you know, for emergency purposes, please make sure that your mailboxes or, you know, your numbers on your mailbox are visually, that they're acceptable, that you can read them. So I'll come up with a word that needs to be used for that. But yeah, that's a good idea. And if you guys have some other things that you think that should go in that little, but yes, I would, and I did that last year. I kind of want to do a, you know, make sure your grass is cut, you will be fined, that type of thing. And for the record, GFS cleaned up all their trash the other day. I called them on Monday and by Tuesday they had it cleaned.
They just always have to be reminded, I guess.
And
Every
they had
couple
like
months.
5 people out there cleaning it up. It was great. Like I
That's
was
wonderful.
so thrilled. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
good name.
sometimes that's all it takes. It's just that friendly little reminder.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're ready to wrap.
Yes.
Ben, ready?
Yes.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you for doing it at
Have a great
6.
night, guys.
All
Thanks
right.
for a great meeting, Diane.